next at 11, the Arvada community struggling with another tragedy. An officer killed in a line of duty. A growing memorial remembering Officer Dylan Vakov. And it's game time. Broncos country ready for a long-awaited season opener against the Seattle Seahawks tonight.
Let's go Broncos!
WrestleMania at an all-time high as he gets ready to make his debut as a Bronco. What to expect from our new quarterback facing off against his old team.
A beautiful and warm start to the week here across the Front Range. We'll see how long this heat sticks around in our next chance for rain coming up.
And thanks for joining us for Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Patrick Perez. This afternoon, Arvada police say they'll identify the man accused of killing Officer Dylan Vakov over the weekend. At noon this hour, Arvada City Council canceled tonight's meeting in honor of the fallen officer. There's currently a growing memorial at the police department where the community is sharing condolences. Denver 7's Veronica Costa shows us.
The memorial for Officer Dylan Vakov just continues to grow. You can see all of the items that people have stopped by and dropped off. The flowers, the photos, the notes, the pictures, the stuffed animals, even balloons for the 27-year-old officer who'd only been with Arvada PD for 3 years. He was a local Arvada guy too, went to high school right here, right over at Ralston Valley. So you can imagine just how many of these people in the community knew him, how many showed up for him yesterday. Among them, an old classmate who really did speak the world of him.
Dylan was always somebody who, when the strangest, most devastating things happened in our lives, he always found a way to look at the bright side. And I think that's what he would want us to do here.
For Officer Vakov, his mission didn't stop at just being a cop with Arvada PD. He was training to be a part of SWAT as well. Before that, he was a staff sergeant in the Air Force. He was a son, a friend, and the half-brother to a man we spoke with who told us every time he and Dylan spoke, it was kind, it was uplifting. He said he appreciates him and everything he did now more than ever.
I just appreciate his service so much. I know it's hard to go out there and face a lot of the stuff that, is going on these days and whatever. It could be scary. But I really appreciate everything. Even the text and everything, to at least be able to get to communicate with him was awesome.
This is the second time this community has mourned the death of a police officer. Just last year in 2021, Officer Gordon Beasley was killed after being ambushed in the Arvada Old Town Square. He'd been with Arvada PD for about 19 years. And as far as Officer Vakov goes, the department says his sacrifice will never go unnoticed. It will never be forgotten. Anyone who wants to pay their respects to the officer, you can come here to the memorial. This is outside of Arvada Police Department headquarters. There's also an official donation link on our website over at denver7.com. In Arvada, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
And like Veronica mentioned, there is an official website to make a donation in Officer Vakov's memory. We have the link to it on denver7.com right now. Well, the heat is back after a cool weekend here in Colorado. Here's a live look from our Lookout Mountain camera. Plenty of blue skies here in the Mile High City with a little bit of smog there. Denver 7's Katie LaSalle joins us in studio. And Katie, great weather for game day, especially if you're maybe going to the bars, watching the game there.
Oh, it's a beautiful start to our week here across Colorado. And no matter where you're watching the Broncos play across the state, it's going to be mostly sunny skies and dry conditions. Patrick mentioned it. We do have some haze and smog lingering over the metro area, but no air quality alerts in place. And for our Broncos fans in Seattle, it's going to be a mild evening with temperatures in the upper 60s by 8 p.m. Right now, though, here over the Denver area, we're warming up. Upper 70s right now downtown and out to the airport. And it's going to be a toastier day here across the Front Range after, like you said, a chilly start to the weekend. No advisories in place, mostly clear skies, 70s and 80s across the plains, 60s into the mountains right now. But it will warm up through the late afternoon. Expect daytime highs to reach the upper 80s. We'll talk more about that next chance for rain and some cooler, more seasonal air still to come.
Let's get it, man. Let's go to work. Let's have a day. Let's have a day, man. Let's be great today. Let's go to work, man. Let's go. Hey, win on three. 1, 2, 3. Win!
And new at 11, Russell Wilson just shared this hype video on his Twitter page, and he is fired up, as you can hear there. Tonight on Denver 7, he is taking on his old team, the Seattle Seahawks. Broncos insider Troy Rank kicks off our coverage with a look at Wilson's preparation.
He's 10-3 on Monday night. He's undefeated in his last 3 openers with 10 touchdowns and no interceptions. As for his teammates, Broncos haven't exactly played a lot of meaningful games the last 6 years, but Russell Wilson will help calm them, be a soothing presence, and he's remained diplomatic this week amid controversy.
I don't worry about all that stuff. I mean, people, have opinions and thoughts and ideas, and everybody has their own right to think what they want to think. I know how the whole thing went and how it transpired and just the whole situation, but also at the same time too, I know that every second of it I've enjoyed, in terms of being there and just trying to give my all every day. That's all I know. I believe in my talent, who I am. I believe I'm one of the best in the world. I don't worry about anything else other than that. At the end of the day, you still got to get prepared the same way you always get prepared. And I think that when you get outside of that realm and start thinking about everything else, or start, detailing this or detailing that, or trying to worry about this and worry about that, you're wasting time. I don't think winners don't waste time on things that have nothing to do with the game. It'll definitely be an experience I've never experienced before, but it'll also be an experience that I'm going to enjoy the journey of it all. My focus is going to be on joy. My focus is going to be on my teammates and us playing our best football that we can possibly play against a really good football team.
So Troy tells us that he believes Wilson is in good shape for tonight's game. He's not too anxious since he is, after all, 19-4 in the primetime games. Now, Seattle is known for having one of the better home field advantages in the NFL. They have the so-called 12th man, and their stadium is usually one of the loudest in the NFL, but it won't be all green tonight. That's because Broncos fans have traveled to Seattle, and they have a pretty good group of orange and blue supporters already there, including our own Denver 7 team. Jason Grenauer spent the day with them. Check it out.
They call it Broncos country for a reason, because pretty much anywhere in the country that you go, you can find at least a handful of fans rocking and supporting the orange and blue. Well, it's a little bit more than just a handful here in Seattle. Now, the fans that we met up with yesterday, it started with a photo op at the base of the iconic Space Needle. Miles, the mascot, also taking part in that team photo. Then things went on over to the Bronco Backer Bar for an Orange Herd rally yesterday. Now, the Denver Broncos Fans of Seattle group boasts more than 3,000 members on Facebook. They say they're one of the largest fan club supporter organizations in the country, and they made their presence known yesterday. Oh, also happening to stop by the party, new team president Damani Leach and Hall of Famer Steve Atwater. We spoke to some fans about the local group welcoming in the traveling group, all coming together to support their Denver Broncos.
This is like being back home for the moment, you guys. This is like, Bronco heaven for us up here in Seattle.
There's a lot of Denver fans here, more than you would expect. So it's really cool to see everybody show up, right? Whether they're coming from out of town or they live here, just in my case. So it's just awesome to be around this and see this happen.
That fan group has a tailgate planned for tonight. Then they plan on kind of parading into the stadium. The ultimate goal, they say, is within that well-known sea of the 12th man supporting the Seahawks. They hope the Broncos see and hear just a little bit of orange and blue come Monday Night Football. Reporting in Seattle, I'm Jason Grenauer, Denver 7.
And all of that action is right here on Denver 7. Monday Night Football team coverage starts at 5 p.m. Kickoff is at 6:15, and be sure to stick around for our post-game coverage. And here's a look at Edinburgh, Scotland, where Scottish Parliament members are offering their formal condolences to the King. That's where the Queen's body arrived yesterday on her final journey before burial. Before heading to Scotland, King Charles was in Westminster, where he spoke before lawmakers, paying tribute to the Queen as well. ABC's Ines de la Cuetada has more from London.
This morning, the Queen's body being transferred from the Palace of Holyrood House in Scotland in a somber procession. The Queen's children, Princes Edward, Andrew, and Princess Anne, led by King Charles, following the coffin on foot, other members of the royal family in cars. The Queen's coffin then carried inside the St. Giles Cathedral, where it is now lying in rest for 24 hours, allowing the people of Scotland to say their final goodbyes. This, as King Charles III is officially welcomed to Scotland with a ritual known as the Ceremony of Keys. Earlier, the King and Queen Consort appearing before both houses of Parliament in London, lawmakers coming together to pay tribute to the Queen.
I cannot help but feel the weight of history which surrounds us.
Today, Prince Harry also releasing the first statement since the death of his grandmother, celebrating her life, remembering fond memories, including when the Queen met his wife Meghan and the time she hugged her beloved great-grandchildren. Meanwhile, outside of Buckingham Palace, a sea of flowers, cards, balloons, and other tributes.
I think she's always been there, and she's She's just overall like a nice person.
So many that the Royal Parks have now asked mourners not to leave any more Paddington Bear toys or marmalade sandwiches, a wink to that now infamous skit from the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations.
Thank you for everything.
That's very kind.
And the Queen's coffin will be transferred to London tomorrow, where it will lie in state for 4 days starting on Wednesday. Members of the public have been warned to expect long lines and security checks. Inez de la Quatera, ABC News, London.
Well, still ahead this morning, winning the lottery is exciting in itself, but one man got a lot more than he bargained when cashing in on the winning ticket, and why a new survey shows most Americans are not satisfied with health care.